and welcome back to my channel. So today I am starting a new series. I've been, as you know, sort of struggled a little bit with some inspiration and stuff. It's starting to come back, and I think that's just because I've been making myself get into the craft room. And I've been sort of, I've sorted out my summer house, which is where I display some of my stuff and where I store all my things that are waiting to be done up as part of mixed media, or I store my fabrics and my yarns and stuff out there as well. So when I was out there, I was looking at some art cards that I did as part of a Marami small art challenge a couple of years ago. She did 52 cafe cards where every week she would give you a new word, and we went through the letters of the alphabet, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I thought I might do a twist on that. So I'm going to do an A to Z art journal. So the idea being, I'm going to make the covers today with you, and then I want you all to leave me suggestions of words beginning with A for the next one, and then when I do the next one in that video, I'll want suggestions for the letter B, and so on and so forth as we go all the way through the alphabet. And I will just randomly pick a word out of the list that gets suggested, and that will be the inspiration for the next piece to go in my journal. So I'm going to use this for my journal. So this, I think it came from the range. I think it was a pack of 4 and some book rings, but I'm going to use it as the cover, and my art journal is going to go that way. So I will decorate these, and then I will cut some pages to go inside to get started with. So like I say, leave me some comments in the description box below, if I can speak, for what words can I use as inspiration for the letter A. So for the covers, I've got off to one side, I've got some of the jelly prints that we made the other day, and I've also picked out this Verity Rose paper booklet that it came with a magazine ages and ages and ages ago, and it's just been sat there in my stash, you know, not really doing anything, but it's got some quite cool papers in it. And it's got this page of toppers, which I really like as well. And I like it because it's not like magazine paper. It is actually, I mean, it's paper, but it's reasonably thick and it's matte. So I really like that. So I'm going to use one of these images. I think I'm going to use her. She's the one I really like, on my front cover. And I might use one of the other ones on the back and on the inside. I'm not sure yet. So what I'm going to do is I'll start off by going and cutting out some of these, and then I'll pull together some papers and we will get started. Okay, so I have cut out the toppers. I ended up cutting all of them, and I will just pop them in. I've got some envelope things that I keep bits and pieces like that in, so they'll go in there to get used at some point. These are the two that I picked, one for the front and one for the back. I'm going to put her on the front. And funnily enough, I picked out the jelly print that out of all of the ones, when I made it, I said, oh, I don't like that one very much. You know, I'll probably use the other side because I do really like the other side. But actually, I really like it with that. And I will add some stuff into the background on it to sort of bring it out a bit more. But yeah, I thought it was really funny that I ended up picking that one. And then the inside of the cover, I'm gonna use this peachy colour, because there is some of that peachy colour in the jelly print, so I'm going to use that for the inside. And then the back cover, the bit that you'll actually see on the back side of it, I'm going to use this jelly print. I love all the blues that are coming through, and it's again similar sort of colours to that one, so I'll use that one for the back. And then the inside of the back, I'm going to use, it's the same pattern, it's just in blues and sort of a creamy colour, which again matches with the jelly print that I've picked. So all I'm going to do to start is move everything out of the way, and we'll start with the front tag. So I'm going to take these sheets. Do I want to take the whole sheet out, or do I want to? Now, is there a way that the pattern goes? It really matters, to be honest, but I think I'll probably go that way. So what I will do, rather than ripping the whole things out, because that way I can leave them in the book. I will just cut out roughly a piece for the inside of my journal. Like that. And then I'll do the same for the blue one. Let's spin that over. There we go. And then I've got a piece for the inside cover, and then I can move that out of the way now. Still got a creaky chair, still haven't put any WD-40 on it. I will get round to it at some point. Okay, so I'm going to pop those bits together, because these are the bits that I'm going to start with for the back. Well, I'm going to use on the back cover, but I'm going to start with the front cover. So I want to make sure I get some of this lovely sort of peachy orangey colour that's down the bottom there in, because that's what's going to tie it in with the this piece that we're going to use for the inside. So I think what I will do is stick it on like that. Now we've got the raw edges, and this is actually lifting slightly, so before I do anything I'm just going to do a quick repair on that piece and just make sure that the cover is all going to be stuck together properly, because I don't want it all coming apart. So a little bit of glue. Sorry, I'm wobbling you. And a good rub with the bone folder. And then I'm going to think about, what do I want on the edges? Do I want a colour? Now obviously I'm going for yellows and the peaches there, but there is a bit of blue, so I'm just going to have a quick look at what mediums I've got. Okay, so I've just been and found this Starlight paint by Imagination Crafts. Just scratch the gesso off it there. I got it free in, well, free, it came in a grab bag thing that I bought from Crafter's Companion, I think it was. And I've taken the thing off to have a look at the colour, but I've never really, I don't think I've used it, so we'll see. But I just thought, because it's blue, I mean, I like the fact that it's got the iridescent sparkle to it, because it'll just add something. But we've got little bits of blue in her shorts, and obviously down on the bottom there in the shell. So yeah, I just thought that might bring in some of the blue, and I can do it on both covers, because obviously the other cover is, you know, there's lots of blues on the other cover, so but it just will cover up that raw edge, just makes it a little bit nicer. And it doesn't matter that I'm going over onto the edge there, because you won't see that, because obviously that's going to get covered up with our papers. So just go around. So I'll just put you on pause while I go around and paint and dry the edges of both of these. Look at the sparkle on that. That's an amazing paint. Like I say, I've never really used it before, but oh my goodness. The sparkle and shine in that is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They are amazing paints. And the lights just changed dramatically in my craft room. It's obviously a cloud going over. They are, I don't know if you can, you're getting it there. That is just phenomenal. So anyway, I will pause the video and I will go and do both the edges, and I'll dry them, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've painted around the edge of all of that, and as you can see, it's got that beautiful lustre. Now, you won't see most of it, because obviously all you're going to see is that edging strip, but we will pull some of that colour through and onto the jelly print as we sort of move forward. So what I've been and done is collect a few things together that I'm going to use to make some more marks on my papers once I get started. Now, I was going to get some stencils out, but then I thought, well, we did the jelly prints using lots of stencils. So I've pulled out this stamp set, which is the one that came with the Indigo Blue magazine set that I bought last month. And then I've just pulled together a few bits and pieces out of a box that I keep for stamping and jelly printing. I've got some bubble wraps, couple of different sizes of bubble wrap. I've got a couple of old cookie cutters that obviously we don't use for cutting cookies anymore. And I've picked up a few lids of varying different sizes that we can make marks with. You can use pretty much anything. Sometimes I'll use a pencil, all sorts. So first of all, I'm going to decide how I want this on the page, and then I will just mount that and trim it out. So in order to do that, I will need, if I can get to it, I've got a huge cutting mat, whoops, a big A2 cutting mat off to the side, but I'm just looking at a text message. Probably shouldn't do that while I'm filming, but I've got this little tiny one that is handy for, you know, when you're filming and things like that. That I think it was a couple of pounds, and it came with a knife from Home Bargains or The Range or somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some ATG, and I'm going to just put some strips of ATG, and this will help give me some instant grab. But I will also put some wet glue on so that I can move it about a bit, and so that I'm sort of confident that it will stay in the long term. So just a bit of white glue. Now what I don't want is loads and loads, because I don't want to start sort of over wetting and wrinkling the papers and things. Now they're quite thick papers, so it's not too much of an issue. But I do find that the precision nozzle helps with that. So then all I'm going to do is just try and line up the bottom and the side of the paper with the edge of my cover. I'm then going to get my bone folder and give that some really good pressure. Anywhere where I feel like it's not sticking enough, I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of wet glue. Ooh. I struggle to keep my camera still whilst doing this because it is moving the table. Then I'm going to just turn that over, and with a craft knife, she says, not being able to see a craft knife, that one will do. Well, I think that needs a new blade. I'm just going to, using the edge of the tag thing, I'm just going to cut a straight line down there. Like that. And then the same again on this side. Oops, cutting into my board carefully. Definitely need a new blade. There we go, that's fine. There we are. So that's what we've got to start with. Now you can also take an emery board and just go around and give it a bit of a rub. Just be aware that obviously that might take off some of your blue, and you might have to go and touch that back up again, or, you know, whatever colour that you use. But I've got mine fairly smooth and straight, so I'm quite happy with that. I also need to make sure that I re-punch these holes. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with my hole punch. I don't think it's going to... Oh no, yeah, there you go. It's managed it just fine. So just line that up and punch and pull it back through, and there we go. So that's the start of the tag, and obviously she's going to sit somewhere on this tag, but I want to now bring some of that blue through and into what I've got here, and then I will probably knock quite a bit of it back with a little bit of white gesso. So I've just got a scrap piece of card, or you can use like a polypropylene mat or silicone mat or whatever, just something off to one side that you can use to put paint and stuff on. Just to roll off over there and get myself some white paint out ready. But I'm going to start off with the Starlight paint that we've used on the edges. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on this card here. There we go. And I think I'm going to use my star cutter. So I'm going to start off with the slightly wider edge. So what I'm going to do is spread this paint out a little bit. Now I could either paint it straight on with the brush. I'm trying to do this around the arm of my filming tripod-y thing, which is challenging. Okay, so I've got some paint on and I'm just going to start to bring it through. Now it doesn't bother me that they're not perfect stars. You know, that's what you get when you're using things like this. And now I'm going to flip it over and go again, but with the thinner side this time. There we go. Lovely. And I might use this since I've got some of that blue still left. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to dry that and then I'll come back and do the next layer. Okay, so I've dried that off, and what I want to do now is just knock this layer back a little bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Pebeo Studios gesso onto a palette. I thought I'd stop being lazy and actually get a palette out, because I was getting myself in a bit of a pickle. There we go. So what I want to do with this to start with is really lightly start dry brushing it. I don't want to put too much on too soon. I can always come back and add in a bit more, but you know, it's hard to take it off once you've put it on. And I don't want to cover up what's there. I just want to knock it back into the background a little bit, and make it so that it's not quite so front and centre. There we go. So it's all still there. It's just in the background. And if there's anywhere where I think it's gone too dark and I want to really knock it back, then I just add in a bit more of the gesso. And obviously as the gesso dries, it becomes a little bit more transparent and things sort of pop back through. And you sort of see them again. Okay, so I want to add some more layers to this, and I'm thinking about the fact that it is my art journal, so I will probably put something down the bottom here. I might print something down there that says what this is going to be. So what else have we got? So I could bring in some of the paper that I'm going to use for the inside. Now the way in which you rip paper determines whether you get a white edge or not. If you want a white edge, rip towards you. If you don't want a white edge, rip away from you. I believe that's how it goes. So I could bring some of that in. Right, now where's the book? Because we've got lots of fun patterned papers in this book. And I might as well bring some of them in. Now that one I really like, and that goes so nicely with that. But I am going to bring a bit of that in. And again, it'll help to just bring the blue in. So I'm just going to rip a piece out of the book. And I could layer that and that there. What else have we got? Looking at what she's got in the background of her, like her papers in the background of her, the image, and seeing if we've got anything. That might be. Let's rip bit and see. Don't know unless I try, will I? Pull a piece of that off. And I'm not loving that one, I don't think. Get a bit of a flamingo and just see. The thing is, you don't have to use it, do you? If you sort of get part way in through and think, well, actually, I don't like that, then you just don't put it on. So, what I'm going to do is find my chipped sapphire distress ink and a blending tool. I can't find anything because my desk is a mess. I've just been making embellishments for embellishments on the 11th, and I was making flowers yesterday, and I've not finished any of it, so I've got about 3 different projects on the go. So this one hasn't got the white edge because the way I've ripped it, which is fine. But what I am doing is just darkening it up with a bit of the chipped sapphire. So I think what I will do is, what I might do is just go and print my strip that's going to go there, because that will allow me to sort of line everything else up. Okay, so I have printed what I'm going to put on the front of my journal. So I'm going to do all of these cards under the hashtag A to Z Zartjournal2020. And I thought I'd do that so that if anybody wants to join in and wants to use any of the prompts that are suggested, or the one that I select from the suggestions, they can hashtag it with this hashtag, and then we can all go and have a look and see what other people have created, and you can use that on Instagram and on YouTube videos. So that's why I've decided to do that. So I thought I would put that on the front of my art journal, and I'd cut it out with a die, and I actually thought it goes really nicely on top of this bit of paper. So I am going to glue this to the bottom of the page there, and I'm just going to use a bit of wet tacky glue for that. Again, I'm not going to use tons and tons because I don't want it to wrinkle up, and I'm just going to place that down towards the bottom there like that, and make you wobble while I just rub it on properly. And then if I can find my craft knife again, just trim the leftovers off on each side like that, and then that can sit on there like that. So I think what I will do is trying to make my mind up which way around to do it, but I think I'm going to do it this way. So I'm just going to ink the very edges. I'm not going to worry about the ends because they're going to get snipped off. So again, we're bringing that blue in from the bits on the image, what we've done on the sides, and it will help to tie the front and back journals together, pages together. So I'm just gonna, again, just a little bit of white glue on there, and I'm just going to line that up where I want it, which is like that. And again, just trim the edges off. That. Make my camera focus a bit better. And then I will just catch the edges where I've trimmed it again with the ink. So there we go. I'm liking that so far. So now what? I think I want to do something else on the background, and I've got these lovely stamps. So I think I'm going to start off with a little bit of numbering. If I can get them off the sheet, they come on. Come off. There we go. Okay, what have we got in terms of inks? So, it might be nice to bring a little bit more of that yellow back in. And I've got fossilised amber or mustard seed. I think I'm actually going to go with the mustard seed because the yellow on her is actually quite bright in places. So it might be quite nice to pull that in a little bit. I'm trying to reach for a stamp block. There we go. Can't open my drawer properly because there's so much rubbish off to the side. I really do need to clean up a bit. Now these stamps have not been used before, so they probably won't give a perfect impression, but that's actually better for me. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Really like that. And it's just helping to bring back that that yellow, because there was already that little bit of yellow in the background, but it was sort of lost a little bit with what we've done over the top. So I'm not going to put any more than that, as tempting as it is to keep going, because I love stamping. I'm going to leave that at that for now. Just wipe over my stamp. And where's the other ones? So what else have we got on here? So we've got that lovely text image as well, but I think I'm going to go for this one, which is a bit like a honeycomb effect. And I'm going to pop that on the block. Now then, what colour do I want to do that in? Some of that corally colour might be quite nice actually. That might just help to, again, sort of tie everything together. Now, have I got an oxide in a corally colour? That is the question. I don't think I have. It's my daughter coming back from having to walk my friend's dog, because my friend is a nurse. She's on a long shift, and unfortunately she hasn't got any family nearby to help out, so we've been nipping and walking the dog when she's on shift. Okay, so that's really subtle because I'm using an original distress ink, so it's not as opaque, but it is just enough to just bring in some of that sort of colour down the bottom there, that sort of peachy orange colour. It's bringing it back up and into the top of the cover, without it being too in your face, which I like. One thing I always forget to do is turn the stamp so that you don't end up with it exactly the same all the way on. I like that. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, I really like that. And then we're going to have her on here like that. So, do we want some of these strips? Oh, I don't know. Don't know whether less is more, or... Oh, it's really hard, isn't it? The other thing that I've got, which I thought might be nice to have, as it's an art journal, is I've got the paintbrushes that again came on that set. If I can get them off. So I'm going to need the big block for that one. Right, and I think what I'm going to do, because I don't want the bottom to get ink on it, because I don't want to ink over my hashtag, so I am going to just put, where do I want it to? So I am just going to put a bit of tape over the bottom there, and then obviously once I've inked it I can lift that bit of tape. So let's have a look. I've got some faded jeans that might be quite nice. Again, it's one of the oxides, and again I don't know how well it'll stamp because it's the first time I've used it. So now that I've done that, I can take that bit of tape off, and the bottom part of that stamp is still nice and clean and won't distract from my hashtag. There we go. Oh, that's super cool. Super cool. Yes, I like. And I do. So then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edges of this again in that dried marigold, because I do want to just keep pulling this colour up and through, because obviously the underside of the cover, the inside part of the cover, is going to be in this paper, in this colour, so I want to make sure that we carry that through. So put a bit more of this on. And put that on there like that. And again, I'm going to just make sure that's glued at the top. Just going to say hello to my daughter quickly and I'll be back. Oh, sorry about that. She bought me a iced coffee. And just wanted to tell me that she'd not been able to get everything that we needed from the shop, but that's okay. I didn't really think that she would get it all, to be honest, but she got enough, so we can have our tea tonight. So I'm just looking through my inks. I was wondering whether I've got a darker blue. I have in the Distress, but I'm wanting to, what's that one? So I've got Memento in Nautical Blue, so I'm going to try that one. I want to try and get some of the paintbrush image down the bottom there. So do I want it that way? Or do I want it that way? I want it the other way. So it's got a flatter edge to it this way. So now this is going to be hard because it's not a perfectly even surface, because I've got layers of paper. As you can see, I've put a couple of extra layers there. So we've got that lovely sketchy paintbrush image all across the bottom, above where it says Art Journal, and then we've got it there as well. And then because of the rule of threes, I think we just need to have a little bit of it elsewhere. So I think what I'm going to do is just ink up just the top part of it, and then I will just bring it down there. Lovely. Fantastic. And then I don't feel quite so bad about covering up a lot of that side there. Okay, so I think I just want to knock back just a little bit so that she stands out enough, and to do that I'm just going to put a little bit of white paint And I've just got the Pebeo Studio Acrylics. I said on my jelly plate video, I just use whatever paint I get my hands on. I don't sort of go for a particular brand. So I've just got here a piece of bubble wrap, and I'm just going to bring in just here and there, and what it'll help to do is unify all of the different elements. So it'll help sort of put all of the papers and things that we've layered in, make it all sort of feel like part of the same thing. Now obviously I don't need to go too bonkers, because a lot of this you won't see anyway, because she'll be over the top of it. So if she's going to be like that, I've got a little bit here. You can see just a little bit of it up there. I think I do just want a little bit there, and a little bit just there. Okie dokie. Now I just want something to separate those two a little bit. So okay, so I've just been and die cut these strip edges. I think this is a Cheery Lynn design die, but it's quite an old one. I don't keep any of the packaging for any of my dies, so I never know, but it's a purple one, so I think it's Cheery Lynn, but it could be anybody. So I quite like that one, and I think it just helps to sort of blend those two edges together. So I'm just going to again, just with a little bit of the white glue, I'm just going to just dab here and there on the leaves, just to make sure that it stays stuck down. I will probably go over this whole cover with a coat of a matte varnish. And when I've got things that will move, because they're waterproof, what I tend to do is put the matte varnish on my jelly plate and then push the whole thing onto the jelly plate, and that gives it enough so that it sort of seals it, and then I can go over it with another coat. Or I think I might actually have some spray matte sealer upstairs as well, that my daughter uses for, she's just started doing Monster High dolls, redoing the hair and the makeup and everything. And she needed a matte sealer sprayable one for that, so I might steal some of that as well. Yep, just push that one back up. Oh, I like that much more. Yeah, just that little bit just really adds something. I've inked around the edges of the image with mustard seed. And I'm just wondering whether it needs something to help just separate it from what's underneath it. So I'm just going to have a quick look at what dies I've got in my stash. Okay, my desk is getting more and more and more crowded, so I am going to have to go and tidy it up in a minute. But I have nearly finished this page. So I couldn't find a die that I liked. So in the end, I turned my image over and drew around it on a piece of black cardstock. And then I've just tried to sort of stay, I don't know, centimetre or two the other side of that line, the outer side of that line, so that when I then flip it back over the other way, I've got a image, an outline, if you like, of the image. I've just had an idea, just a thought while I was looking at it, because it's not massively even, because obviously it's done by hand, which, you know, I quite like that look for art journals anyway, but I just thought it might just be nice to just rough the edges up a little bit, and again it just will then add to that that look of distress. Okay, and then I think I'm going to glue these two down and then put them onto the cover, and I think that will do for the front cover. I'm not going to do the back cover on this video because it's already 37 minutes long, and I know I've got a clip to add in which is a bit longer as well, showing the art journal cards that I made last time and my crafts, well, my summer house space. So I don't want to make it so long that it's unwatchable. So I think what I'll do is I'll finish this bit off and then I will go and edit it, add in the bit of my summer house. Like I say, that you might already have seen that because I might put it at the front depending on how it edits in, and then I will do the back page in a different video. So that's all I'm going to do there. It's just giving it just that tiny bit of a rough edge. I haven't gone mad. I've just given it a very, very slight sort of scuffing with the tool, and that has just made a difference for me. And I will just, again, I'm putting plenty of glue near the edges so that they don't lift. But if I varnish it or spray it with the acrylic sealer, it won't lift anyway. And there we go. I've already put the backing paper on the back there, so I'm going to leave that plain. I did sort of play about with putting some strips of paper on, and but I thought actually I don't want to put too much bulk because obviously the cards that I'm going to make might be quite bulky, so I decided just to leave that flat as is. So I've just inked around the edge with some of the dried marigold. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this one because it keeps lifting. There we go. So that's the cover for my new hashtag A to Z Zartjournal2020. Like I say, the first letter is obviously going to be A, so any ideas for prompts for the letter A, just leave them in the description box below this video, and I will have a look through, and I'll either get my daughter to pick one, or I'll do a random picker, or I'll do something, and I'll pick a prompt, and that will be the first card. And like I say, I'll also do the back cover. At some point I'll film and do the back cover. And if you want to join in and play along with me, just use that hashtag there, and let me know in the description box on any of the videos for these hashtag A to Z Zartjournal2020 videos. Let me know that you've created something, and if it's on Instagram or YouTube, and I'll go over and have a look. And I'm sure, you know, there'll be lots of other people that would like to join in and play along too. Okay, so this is my summer house out in the garden. And what I'm showing you is the art cards that I made from Maremi Small Arts. She did a sort of like collab thing a few years ago, and anybody that was on her Facebook page could sort of join in, and we shared the pictures on the page. So that's not a real spider up in the corner, it's a toy one. My husband likes to try and frighten me with it, moves it about occasionally. So if I take you along, you can see all the different art cards that I did for that series, and I absolutely loved it, because when you're not sort of necessarily feeling inspired, if somebody gives you a word that you've got to work to, it makes your brain start sort of going, and makes you start thinking about, well, how could I do a piece of work based on that. So those are the ones I did for that. And it's sort of a combination of that and some things I've seen done online. Yeah, just lots of things have sort of inspired me lately to think I need something that will make me get in my craft room even when I don't massively feel like it. So that's what made me come up with the idea of doing an A to Z journal. So I'm going to do similar sized cards, and I'm going to make a little journal album, which is what we'll be doing in this video. We'll be making the cover for the journal, so I'll talk some more about it there. I'll just show you around the rest of this summer house, since we're in here. Those were a couple of pieces of art that me and my daughter did together. We did a mixed media mashup type thing where we just drew the cards and went along with it. My daughter did the one with the butterfly, and I did the vintage piece. So that was my daughter's, and that was the piece that I did. And then if I sort of pan round, That's my grandparents' old china cabinet. It was actually made by my great-great-granddad as a wedding present for his son and his wife. And I wanted it to stay in the family after my grandparents had to go into care, and sadly my grandfather died last year. So I didn't have room in the house for it, but I wasn't prepared to let it go. So it is my wall storage, and I absolutely love it. And every time I come and sit out here, I feel like I'm sitting back with my grandma and Bampy in their house in the cottage, and I sit and sometimes do my crochet out here. I've got some pieces of work up on the wall, so some mixed media pieces that I've done. That beautiful painting, which I don't know if you're getting the glare that I'm getting, unfortunately. Try and move the camera a bit. That was painted by my mum, and an acrylic pour that I did, and then we've got some bits and pieces that the children have made for me, some baubles that I've crocheted, the little mice my mum knitted for my nanny, and when she went into care they came to live in my display area. I've then got a little storage box down there for my scraps of wool, and that's got a crochet cloth on it that my great grandma crocheted. And the piece of embroidery which is going to be mounted to go up on the wall was a piece of embroidery that my grandmother did, and then there's some acrylic pours behind that my eldest daughter did. Then I've got this piece of cross stitch that I did years ago. I actually finished it the night before I went into labour with my youngest daughter, and it was really funny because that's what my younger daughter looked like when she was little, so yeah, it was really amazing. Another couple of acrylic pours that I've done there. I really love the colours in that one, and the one above reminds me of sort of Monet type colours. I really like that. And then I've got this shelving unit here, which if I can get far enough away from it, I use this to store all of my bits that I've bought to alter, or I found to alter, and I've just literally revamped this so that all of my mixed media sort of alteration stuff is all together on one set of shelves. So again, I find that quite inspiring because I can come out and think, oh yeah, I thought I bought that because I'd got this project in mind, whereas when it was tucked away, I tuck it away and then not remember, and and then it would never get done. Over onto this wall, I've got that painting there that my eldest daughter did. I really love that one. And I crocheted that wreath for Christmas a few Christmases ago. Unfortunately, in the attic this year, the polystyrene wreath inside it got all smashed, so it's obviously all out of shape. So I need to unpick the back and restitch it onto a new wreath at some point. Down there, I've got a big like ottoman that is full of all of my fabrics and things. And then the couple of bags on top have got either crochet or sewing projects that are part done in them. At some point I'd like to paint and deck patch the ottoman. I think that would be quite a fun project to do. That's the doors out into my garden. They need painting. My husband actually made this summer house all pretty much from scraps, and we were given 3 doors that somebody was just getting rid of. So my husband ripped one down to make it into windows for either side, and then set the doors in the front there. So they just need it's all been painted on the outside, but they just need a coat of paint on the inside this year. And then coming down, I've got my little desk and desk chair there that I can pull out that has my sewing machine on it. So when I want to do a bit of sewing, I can come and sit out here, and I haven't got to keep sort of getting my sewing machine in and out because it's permanently out on that desk, and I can just, the desk's on wheels, so I can just sort of pull that round. And then I've got a little heater and my 2 tub chairs, so me and my husband will quite often come out here and have a cup of coffee, and then I just store the cushions for our outdoor sofa in the back there. It's not ideal, I'd rather they weren't there, but the other sheds that we've got are all full at the moment, so this one's reasonably spider free, so I prefer to have them in here. So that's my outdoor sort of storage come display area, and that's all my cards again. I will try and do a tour of my actual craft room at some point, but as I was showing you the cards, I thought I might as well show you out here while I was here. So that's it for this video. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel for more crafty content. And if you hit the bell icon, then you will get notified each time I upload a new video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. get them in the camera. And that's it for now, and I'll see you all again very soon in the next craft video. Bye for now.